Okay, a lot of information here. The squads A and B. X is the proportion of squad A's members who are contestants. So if you have like A members, X is a proportion. It's like 1/4 or 1/5. So the number of contestants is X times A. Because it's like 1/4 of, let's say A were like 20. It's 20 members. XA, 1/4 of A would be like 5 members. This tells you how many contestants. You take the proportion times the number of, people on your squad there are. And the same as B. If like B is the members of A, Y times B is the number of people who actually went into the contest. Okay. So what they do is they get into a formula. It's annoying. It's not on, it's in the other tab. Let me look at it real quick. They reduce all this information into a formula where on the next tab it's 2xa over A plus xy over A, x over y times A. That's it's just on one of the other tabs. They use this as like a proportion of all the members of both teams that competed. So what it looked like was like XA plus YB over A plus B. That's the proportion, because XA is how many people contested from team A. This is how many people contested from team B. And A plus B is how many total members there are in A and B together. And they said this is the same as this because they just swapped in like XB for A, whatever. But this question is asking, doing what to these will give us a proportion that they want in the problem in this tab. So basically, we just want this is the proportion of all the contestants who actually competed, but we just want it all this language means in terms of X and Y only. So we want to get this in terms of X and Y only. Well, how do I do that? I mean, X is fine being in there, X is fine being there, Y is fine because I want X and Y. I just need to get A out of the whole equation. So notice, a couple of things you could do. You could factor out A from the bottom and get A times 1 plus that. And then A will cancel out from numerator and denominator. So that's how A goes away. And this is left just being X and Y. So we get that by dividing the denominator. Not the numerator. Yeah, dividing numerator and denominator by A. Divide them both out, okay? This next one is asking if these are possible values of A. So in one of the tabs, they give a chart where it's like X, Y, and they have like 1/4. These are possible values of X. X could be, remember X was the proportion. X could be 1/4 of the total, or it could be 1/3 of the total, or it could be 1/2 of the total. It's like numbers like that, basically those numbers. 1/4, 1/3, 1/2, 1/2, 1/3. So if you're looking at possible values of X, where it will give you an outcome of A. So remember, that's X times A tells us how many contestants from A. Basically, X times A needs to be an integer. If I take X is some proportion, it's 1/4, it's 1/3. That times A needs to give you a whole number because you can't have a fractional contestant. So for each of these, there's a value of A that is compatible with that value of X. So if we look at that, can these numbers be A? Well, look at it. If A is 9, I can't take 1/4 of 9. That's not a whole number. I can't take 1/2 of 9. That's going to be a whole number. So that can't be. That's all it's testing is if A is 9, are we going to get integers for all these outcomes? If A is 10, we cannot take 1/4 of 10. That's not a whole number. We can't take 1/3 of 10. That's not a whole number. But 12 could be, because 12 is divisible by 4. So when we could do 1/4 of 12, we can do 1/3 of 12, you know, and we can do whatever I want a half of 12, so that's why 12 works. For this one, it's important, up in the information somewhere, they basically say some A dash equals XA. A being the number of contestants, which is the same as the proportion times how many total contestants there are in A. B equals YB. So, and we know, and they also told us up above that XA equals YB. Okay. So if we look at that, I mean, does A equal YB? Well, A1, A dash equals XA, and XA equals YB. So yeah, these are true. Just going down the line. Does A dash equal B dash? Well, A dash equals XA, and XA equals YB, and YB equals B dash. So XA, or A dash equals B dash. Then if you look at the third one, so that one is A plus B. So this is like the total number of people. Is that less than the this is like the number of contestants, so it's some fraction of A. It's a smaller subgroup than A. And same with this, it's like 1/3 of B, the number of contestants. So this is a smaller subgroup of A, this is a smaller subgroup of B. Those added together are not going to be less than the total of A and B added together, no way. So that one's not true.